All right, Bob, do you need a new associate at your firm?
Vinny, I'm going to take a little bit of a twist here compared to what most people are thinking. I think she did a credible job. And it's funny because, you were talking before in the intro to this case, most lawyers today that are coming out of law school have no trial experience whatsoever. They have to get on-the-job training. And what do we tell them, Vinny? Go to court and watch the proceedings. And eventually you're going to have to jump off and do it yourself. She has more trial experience than 80% of the lawyers that I had when I was the head county prosecutor. And she's actually articulating, I'm sorry, she's quoting Brady, a little bit of Giglio's in there. She hasn't saying that case. She's essentially saying she's entitled to this discovery, extradition information to test the credibility of the witnesses. And I think she's making a good record. When the judge says, tell me how it's relevant, and I think my colleagues here would agree with this, the judge is asking her to explain the relevancy of things that she does not have, so she can't make that determination. I think she's doing a good job. And the last point here, Vinny, I don't think she cares whether she gets convicted or not. This is her ability to tell her story the way she wants, and that's just the way it goes. She doesn't care. She's serving 2 life sentences.
Everything else that she talked about in her sentencing at her own trial.
I think it's going to be more, if I had to guess, I don't think she's going to go into the religion thing. I think she's going to go into a more plausible defense of self-defense, defense of others, things of that nature. But, I just want to say that I think it's important to understand, my great-grandfather used to use this phrase, a small pebble can overturn a large carriage. So there have been instances where people laughed at these defendants and they've gone to court. One of the most famous cases in federal court happened in New Jersey, Vinny. Maybe your dad was one of the judge that handled the case. I don't know.
Well, find me guilty.
I don't know if that's the name of the book. I think that may have been written on it. The guy represented himself, a mob case.
Yeah. Vin Diesel, Find Me Guilty. I saw the movie.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, he had that jury in the palm of his hands. They loved the guy, and the U.S. attorneys were dumbfounded, and it was a not guilty. One last point, Vinny, I want to bring out here that I think is part of her tactical defense. She's also asserting speedy trial rights here. And I know we're going to be talking about Baldwin later, and no pun intended here, but if you remember the movie The Hunt for Red October, where they turn the submarine and head towards the submarine that's firing the missile before it has an opportunity to arm. And I can't help but think of that movie piece here, where she is saying, I am ready to go on March 31st. Are the prosecutors? It's a big case. I mean, I've been forced to go to trial as a prosecutor on a case earlier than I wanted to, and it caused me problems with regard to presenting my evidence. Who knows, Vinny?
Yeah.
It's going to be a wild ride.
Oh, it absolutely is. Bob, what do you think? I mean, again, I always come back to the fact that the person who loaded the gun was prosecuted. The person who took that gun and handed it to him got prosecuted, but the guy who put his finger on the trigger didn't, in the end, but was still charged. Do you see a prosecutor kind of going out of bounds here and doing things that should not have been done?
I think the conduct of the prosecutors in this case is one of the most wantonly egregious prosecutions that I've ever seen. I have been shocked from the beginning of this, at both its amateur hour-ishness and as well as the media, the violation of the rules of professional conduct with regard to extrajudicial statements. When I was watching this case unravel, Vinny, as a former prosecutor, I was disgusted by the ineptness of the investigation, the clear political angle. There was one of the prosecutors at one point in time had to leave because she was both a representative in the state government as well as being a prosecutor, which is a conflict of interest. And then the head prosecutor had to relieve herself. I have in front of me, Vinny, 73 pages of a complaint. All that I'm showing you here right now are all factual allegations of destruction of evidence, withholding evidence. As your guest previously indicated, a judge dismissing with prejudice for discovery violations is an unbelievable remedy in the criminal context. This is a classic malicious prosecution case. I've handled many of them on the civil side. I would love to have had this kind of case. The damages are extraordinary. The proofs are there. And I think more importantly,
what's the damage? What's the damage?
His reputation has been destroyed. He's been sullied. Look, they made extrajudicial statements, Vinny. They're going on CNN, Fox News, making commentary. Any prosecutor knows you don't try your case in the court of public opinion. You do it in the courtroom. He suffered tremendous damages. And so I think it's just a matter of making sure prosecutors don't do this in the future, because we see prosecutors grandstanding more and more, and they're never held accountable. I would never do it. It shouldn't be done. I welcome this lawsuit.